Hey man, you got a cheap home studio setup, don't you? And you probably think that's the reason why you can't get any of your mixes to sound good. Well, I got good news for you. You're wrong. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the top 5 mistakes that truly are holding you back from having good quality recordings and mixes in your home studio. I don't care how much you spent on it. Plus, if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll even share a bonus tip that has helped a lot of the engineers that I mentor take their recordings to the next level. What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyProAudio.com. I'm an audio engineer who has been helping people just like you record and mix better and faster right here on YouTube for years, man. And look, I'm here today to help you to make sure that your home studio is working for you and not against you. And I'm telling you, the bonus hack that I'm going to give you is going to change the way you think about recording and revolutionize the way that your recordings sound. I once recorded a famous rapper, I ain't gonna drop no names now, but he thought it was gonna be a good idea to record with his C800 in his brand new loft apartment that he just moved into. Now, the C800 is one of the most sought after microphones. Everybody uses it. It has a great sound. But the problem was that loft apartment was bare bones. He barely had any furniture in it, and you could hear all the reflections, every single thing that was happening in that room, right? What did we learn from that? Is that even though you could have the most high-end gear, the best recording equipment ever, a room will kill you every single time. A bad room will like obliterate your recordings. All right, so here are a few affordable solutions to fixing acoustic problems in any room. For one, you want to start off by finding a room that's quiet already, right? Don't go to the room with the biggest windows that's overlooking the New York City streets. Don't go to the room next to your baby brother that's crying or your kids or whatever. Find a quiet place, whether that's in your basement or wherever, your bedroom, wherever you find that room, just find it quiet already, not where people watching TV and all this stuff, right? That's step one. Step two, you want to find a quiet spot that is the least reflective in that room. Now, how would you do this? You can do this by doing a simple clap test. You walk around the room, clapping your hands, right? When you hear the reverberations and echoes, when you hear a lot of those, that lets you know that that room or that space, that area in the room is probably not good for recording. You can also just kind of shout out and yell in the room like, hey, 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 and right, and listen to what you're hearing back, right? Wherever it sounds good in that room is probably going to be the better place for recording. Again, clap tests work really well. Also, just talking, singing, or rapping around the room in different spaces will also let you know where a good recording area might be. After you do this, you might realize that you need to fix the room. Like, no matter where you go, the rooms just ain't good enough. You're like, well, the basement is the quietest area in my house, but it has so many hard surfaces and it's super reflective. So I have actually made a really great video that goes in depth on creating acoustic panels. Now, just not to get too technical, acoustic panels will help to dampen the reverberations in that room. You can use them to absorb the frequencies that are going to be bouncing all around that room and ultimately jumping back into your microphone, and that's what's going to kill your recordings. So using acoustic panels and acoustic treatment can help. The video that I've made for you actually will be probably the absolute cheapest option that you can get to get really professional acoustic treatment in your space. And here's the thing though, it ain't just the cheapest option, it's also the best option. Like a lot of the stuff that you can go and buy online for acoustic treatment is absolute crap. This video that I'm going to walk you through for you to make your own acoustic panels is literally the best way to go about it. I guarantee you it's going to save you money, it's going to save you time, so it save you frustration, and it's going to save your recordings. But if you wanted to get started recording right now, you can think about some practical solutions like using a blanket, right? I like to use, when I record, I actually like to take a mic shield, put it around my microphone with the mic shield, and then also take an additional blanket and put over that mic shield. That blanket will help to stop extra reverberations. Think about other practical options like putting a carpet down, a little rug or something that's going to help to stop some of the reflections from the floor. You can also hang blankets from the walls or use a thick curtains and stuff like that, because the point is to stop the reflections from bouncing off of the hard surfaces. So any way that you can think to do that, man. We used to actually, when I was going to Full Sail, I would actually take my mattress, stand it up against the wall, right? And I had created a little corner. So every time I was going to record, I would hold this mattress up and put it in the corner, and that would be my little recording booth, man. You could take a mattress on one side, take your box spring on the other side, put the mic in the middle, and now you got a nice little absorption corner that you could use to record. Now look, don't let your mama catch you in there with the mattress upside down. I'm not responsible. Some people like to also use little eyeballs and stuff like this. These work, you know, especially in the dramatic situations, but I have found that they can actually make the sound a little bit muffled. So you always want to use your ears whenever you're going to be thinking of a solution, no matter what, whether it's blankets, acoustic treatments, use your ears. Even after you do the acoustic treatment, do the clap test to see the difference that is made. And here's a little pro tip. While I don't recommend recording in small spaces like a closet or something like that, actually using a closet that's full of clothes is going to be better than recording in a big empty room with a lot of hard surfaces. On some microphones, you just know where to address them. Like, it's just pretty easy to know. On others, you may not be sure should you address it from this side, or the top side. And look, addressing the microphone from the wrong direction will ruin your recordings. And I know you think that I'm being funny, but really, you would be surprised at how many people ruin their recordings basically because they're recording into the wrong side of the microphone. I've seen people recording into side address microphones from the top. I've seen people with their microphone set up backwards, right, on the stand. Now look, if you don't know how to address your microphone, here's an idea. Read the manual. Every microphone comes with a little booklet in it with some instructions. Read that manual so that you can know whether this is a side address microphone, which side you should address, or is it a front address microphone or top address microphone, right? So like, for example, this SM58, this is a front address microphone. This is a side address microphone. Now, both sides actually have the logo, and I was gonna say, that's how you know which side to use is based on the logo. But in this case with this Sony, both sides actually had a logo. It might be easy for you to get confused when you go to use this microphone. Another thing that you could do to tell is always listen. Record a test take. Turn the mic around, record another test take. Whichever sound sounds more direct, that's the front address. In typical though, most microphones are not gonna have the logo on both sides. So you can pretty much, probably 90% of the time, use that to determine for a cardioid style microphone, which is the front. And in this case, it has a little cardioid logo. That's gonna tell me that that's the front of the microphone that I should be addressing. Something else that you want to keep in mind when you record in vocals is the distance from the microphone itself. Cardioid microphones with a cardioid pattern, that's the one with the little heart on it. Cardioid microphones have what's called a proximity effect, whereas the closer you get to the microphone, the more low end energy is going to be enhanced, I could say, in that microphone. It's going to pick up more low frequencies. But if you're too far away from the microphone, right, then you're also including a lot of the room tone. So you want to find the best possible place. And for me, and for most microphones, I should say, you probably want to be between 8 to 12 inches away from the capsule. So 8 to 12 inches away from the microphone is probably best in most situations. Again, your owner's manual of that microphone will tell you what's the best way to actually be away from that microphone, the best distance to address that microphone. And again, listening is so key. Now look, a pop filter is another thing. Sometimes, man, if you don't have this pop filter, that's this little thing right here. If you don't got this pop filter, get you a pop filter, right? The pop filter will stop plosives. It's going to stop extra air from getting into the mic capsule. That extra air can distort. It can cause unwanted noises and pops and all that stuff. You don't want that extra air in the mic. Here is a rule of thumb. No, it's actually a rule of fist, man. I always want to keep the pop filter at least a fist distance away from the microphone. Now, keeping the pop filter a fist distance away from the microphone will ensure that that air has space to dissipate and not go directly into the mic. So as you talking into the microphone, you want the air, the P's and the B's and all that extra air syllables will actually be dissipated and spread out and not hit your capsule, causing you any distortion, because we absolutely don't want that. All right. So yeah, a fist distance away and probably another fist distance or so away from there will get you about 8 inches to 12 inches from the mic, depending on how big your fist is. So a fist distance from the mic, about this far from the pop filter, and you're going to be good to go. Another thing to consider with the microphone placement is going to be whether it is higher above your vocalist or kind of below their mouth, right? To where if it's a little bit higher above the vocalist's mouth, you're going to get more of the high-end frequencies. If you have the microphone below their mouth, it could cut off their airways and kind of choke them and give them a little choked sound a little bit, right? So you probably want to start off at least parallel to the vocalist's mouth as a form in terms of height, or slightly higher depending on what your desired sound is to capture. Again, experimentation and listening will be your best friend. Another thing to consider is the actual type of mic. Like the story that we was talking about, using a C800 in a untreated room is probably not going to be the best idea. Whereas dynamic microphones actually work a lot better at isolating what's directly in front of them than condenser microphones, right? So a couple of microphones that I would actually recommend would be the Lawton Audio LS208. That hands down is one of my favorite microphones for any recording conditions. If you have an untreated room, even if you have a treated room, the LS208 is a microphone that can grow with you and go with you wherever you're going, whatever the situation is, man. Also, a very popular microphone that has even been used by Michael Jackson, man, is the Shure SM7B. Both of those microphones I would recommend over a high-end microphone if you're going to be recording in a situation that is less than optimal. And here's another pro tip. If you're going to be recording somebody else, let them see you adjusting the microphone and pop filter a little bit, even if it was already perfectly in place. And this will just give them the idea that you, as a professional, have already taken the time to set this up in the most optimal setting, and that they don't need to go touch it, because, you know, rappers just love to go and adjust the pop filter for some reason. I'm sure that we've all heard the phrase, once you go black, you can't go back. Well, look, I got a new phrase I want you to remember. Once you go red, you're dead. All right. And what I'm talking about is clipping on the input. Clipping on the input, man. Like if you got a preamp, right, which most of y'all got the preamp on your audio interface, right, and you got a gain knob on it. Too much gain will kill the signal. Make sure that you monitor that input gain. So I got a couple easy fixes to make sure that you never distort the input. For one, let's just make sure that we always watching the meters. Always be looking, ABL, always be watching these meters, man. Always be watching, like ABW, whatever, ABL, always be looking, always be looking at the meters, man. Always during the recording, while you're recording, constantly glance over at your audio interface, not the meters inside your DAW. Don't worry about those. Look at the meters on your interface to make sure they are not clipping, because if it's red, you're dead. Don't go into the red, okay? Now, here's a rule of thumb. You want to try to record as loud as possible without clipping. Right now, that's my gain staging theory. Record as loud as possible without clipping. Now, for all of y'all who want to be looking at the peak meters, that's going to be at about -12 to -6 dB peak. -12 to -6 dB peaking, right? So maybe somewhere between -8, -10, somewhere around there. But anywhere between -12 and -6, you're going to be good. That's going to give you a lot of headroom. Now, the more dynamic your performer is, especially if you're not recording with compression going in, the lower you're gonna want to keep that input gain level. But look, remember this. If you don't remember anything else from this video, remember this, please. Nothing inside of your DAW and pretty much nothing inside of your computer is going to change the level that your microphone is coming in. So you you definitely only want to change the input level on the actual interface. If you're using an external preamp, then fine, do that. But we're focusing on folks that's going straight to the interface. The preamp level, the gain level on your interface is where you're going to adjust the microphone level. So please make sure that you are watching these meters as you're recording and that you're setting them accordingly. As you're recording and that you're setting them accordingly. I hope I said that right? It's not set it and forget it either. Even though you've gotten a good level at the beginning, right? And by getting a good level, I don't mean to tell the artist, say, all right, do mic check 1 2 1 2, mic check 1 2 1. Now it's good, right? Because as soon as you hit record and the music is playing, their energy is up, they're gonna change that level. They're gonna be louder and doing all that, right? So you want to actually, something I always say is I'll be like, hey, let's record this first pass. I'm going to set your levels while we're recording this first pass. That allows them to, for one, get a practice round in without having to worry about, this is really it, right? Nah, this ain't really it, but I want you to record, and we're going to record. And as you recording and getting your energy up, I'm going to be adjusting the input gain to make sure that the gain is going to be sufficient for the recording session. But look, it's not setting and forget it. Like I said, as we go through the song, the artist's energy might change. If you're the artist, your energy might change. You're going to start to get louder. You're going to get maybe quieter in some parts because we're dynamic as artists, right? So adjust the preamp accordingly. You don't have to just set one level for the whole song or set one level for that whole artist. You can adjust that preamp level from section to section to make sure that you're always recording at the optimal level. Don't get caught out there in the red. Listen, you can do all of this, but the truth is you can't fix what you can't hear. And trying to get a good recording on some monitors that you can't trust or headphones that you can't trust, it's like trying to go somewhere with directions that are wrong. It told you to turn left when you should have been turning right? Now look, that's the fourth mistake that I see a lot of people making is they don't have a trusted monitoring solution. The fix for this is to get a good pair of headphones that you know and trust. And not the Beats and all of these other brands that enhance the sonics of the headphones. You want a flat frequency response headphones. One of them that I really love and I've been using for a while are the Sony MDR, either you got the 7506s and they also got these new ones I've been rocking with, the Sony M1. And they got what's the other version? But look, I'll put the link down to some headphones that I trust down in the description below, besides the Wavy ones, which you can't get no more. I know if you're looking for those, I'm sorry, man. But look, until we come back with those, I really trust these headphones. Also some Sennheiser HD 280s. Those have been great. But like, look, if you don't have acoustic treatment in the room, and playing studio monitors in that same room could be just as bad as recording with the microphone in that room, right? Sound is bouncing all around the room and you're not sure whether you're listening to the speakers or listening to that room. And that could be a problem as well when it comes to mixing or setting your recording in the right situation. So for one, recording, you're going to need some good headphones. So again, hit that link, check my description for some of my trusted headphones that I believe will really set you off in the right direction. Studio monitors are great too. Like you really need some great studio monitors. They don't have to be high end. You just have to know them. And here is a hack that I have to get to know any piece of gear, whether it's headphones or studio monitors, because I don't care how good they are, you need to know them, especially if you're in less than optimal situations, man. But in all situations, this is true. Using reference tracks. Reference tracks, man, they're so crucial, especially for us as beginners, right? If you're a beginner, using a reference track of one of your favorite songs that's been professionally mixed, you've been listening to it for a while, you know how it sounds. Listen to how it sounds in those headphones, right? Match the frequency response, match the levels of stuff, match how your recording sound to how that professionally mixed sound sounds, right? Listen to how vocals or whatever instruments you're recording sound out the studio monitors in your room once by using a reference track. So you go find some high quality references. You can download it, whatever you need to do. Find some high quality references that you can listen to and get to know how sound reacts in your room through your studio monitors, and also how they sound in your headphones, right? Here's a little pro tip. Even if you don't have 100% accurate listening environment, they have some devices like the Arc Studio by IK Multimedia and SonarWorks Sound ID, which can help to balance out room issues and get you back to a flat standard when it comes to your monitoring in both the headphones and the studio monitor. So try those out if you need to. All right, so look, you've been rocking with me for a minute, and I just got one more mistake that I want to share with y'all and give you the solution on how to solve it. And it's getting close to lunchtime, and I'm getting pretty hungry. It's got me thinking about a steak, right? So I'm gonna use a steak to tell you this next one, man. So have you ever had like a perfect cut of steak? I'm talking about Wagyu A5, you know, filet mignon, right? And you cooking that bad boy up, and you trying to shake some salt or seasoning, whatever, and the little top pop off, and you like put way too much seasoning than you ever expected. Whatever food it is, you put too much seasoning, too much salt, too much pepper, whatever. And you straight up ruin the steak, man. It don't even taste like steak no more. You don't even want to eat it. That's what's happening when you overprocess your recording. So mistake number 5 is overprocessing the recordings. People do this by over EQing, over compression, putting too many effects on it, just going too crazy with all these new plugins that you got and all that stuff. Over processing the vocals can really ruin it. So focus on getting a good, clean recording instead of trying to do so many over processing effects. Typically, I always find that less is more. And when I'm working on a project that I'm struggling to get the vocal sound that I want or whatever sound I want, this is what I'll do. I'll typically duplicate that track, take all the plugins off of it. And by this time, right, you didn't use 10 plugins, right? Take all the plugins off of it and just listen to the raw vocal again, right? And start from scratch using a real minimal approach to just getting that vocal to sit level in that mix. Maybe if you add a touch of compression, maybe just a little bit of EQ. But if you have a good recording, you shouldn't have to be carving out so much with EQ or boosting so much with EQ. Go back to the beginning if you are not getting the results that you want. Here's a pro tip on that. Use that bypass button as much as possible. What I like to do is sit down at my desk when I'm mixing, and after I do something, especially an EQ or a compression move or something like that, I will hit the bypass button. And then I'm closing with my eyes closed. That's why I can close my eyes. I'm bypassing, and I'm gonna just put my mouse in position and click bypass, you know, a bunch of random times so I don't know whether it's bypassed or unbypassed, right? And then I'm going to click it again, bypass, hear it, unbypass, right? And then just whichever sound I like, I'll stop, open my eyes, and then whether that plug-in is bypassed or unbypassed, that's what we rolling with. If I open my eyes, and this happens a lot, and the EQ is bypassed, then maybe I need to start over with the EQ, or maybe it just doesn't need it at all, right? So use that technique to actually not lie to yourself and determine whether you are enhancing or hurting the sound that you're trying to work on. All right, John, so you've made it this far with me, and I appreciate you rocking with me. And if you like these tips, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. But I got a hack for you that has really changed a lot of people's minds when it comes to the recording process. When I thought of this myself, I was like, bro, this is like so simple. Why didn't I think of this before? And the simple hack is to mix before you record. Hear me out. Because I know you're like, yo, Wavy, how can I mix before I record? Mix before you record means before you hit record, have something worth recording. Think about when you taking a picture of something. You don't just go take a picture of some random stuff and then go in Photoshop and spend hours editing stuff in. Well, now you do, right? We got all the generative AI. You can add a bunch of stuff in, but typically before you take a photo, you make sure that your subject is in the photo correctly, that you got the shot framed, that they got a nice outfit on, that the lighting is right, and they got lotion and all this stuff, right? Before you hit record, make sure the same things. Listen to what's happening. Make sure that the song is good, the composition is good, the beat is good, that the vocalist has warmed up their vocals, that you got the microphone in the right place, that you got the right mic for the situation. And then once all the stars align, then you hit record once there's something actually worth recording. Don't just be blindly recording and hoping to use the tools inside the DAW later to create something out of nothing, man. All right, so that's my hack for you, is to mix before you hit record. If you like this video, again, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share this with somebody. You need to help the world sound better. Share this with somebody else. Share it on your website, your blog, share it, email it to a friend right now that you think could actually use these tips, man. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyProAudio.com. Coming up on this channel soon, I'm gonna actually be talking about 5 mixing myths that are holding your mixes back, man. So if you're interested in that video, leave a comment below. Let me know which one of these mistakes you're working and how you're gonna fix them. And if we left any out, also drop down in the comments and share that as well, man. This is a community and we all about helping everybody here record and mix better and faster. Be dope.